Welcome to the Bernie Kosar Show alongside the Cleveland legend himself and the top dog, Hanford Dixon.
Top dog.
Top dogs in the house.
One more somber Monday for us, folks. It's another losing record, last in AFC North, and plenty to chat about. I'll turn it over to you kids.
Yeah, not a victory Monday, and actually not much drama this weekend, huh? Top dog, kind of a quiet weekend for us here.
It was a quiet week. Well, yeah, it was a quiet week. Yeah.
Browns Steelers weekend, that's typically enough of a story on itself, but I got to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room with myself and what transpired yesterday and stuff. It's really with this podcast and me being in the late third quarter, early fourth quarter of my life, I've gone through so many things on the field and off the field. I really been blessed to kind of figure out ways to give back to people and help not only myself, but help people, communities, deal with some of the health and wellness issues. We did a podcast a couple weeks ago about some of the injuries that I've gone through and some of us ex-players have gone through. We've been talking on this podcast all year. There's been so much interest in our Browns and the NFL season. We haven't got to talking about some of the treatment programs and protocols that I like to do that have bluntly saved my life and allowed me the opportunity to somewhat sit up here and be somewhat articulate and enunciate, communicate messages here about our football team and stuff. But really, my driving passion and my commitment as I get into the fourth quarter of my life is really giving back to people, communities, and our planet, and that ability to be healthy. Like I've been able to find myself, I've been able to wanting to kind of parlay or transfer that knowledge or that ability to take care of yourself to others right now. And when we were talking about doing this podcast, it almost sounds like a hypocrisy now that we're going to talk about the podcast and sports betting, but it's really expensive to learn these health and wellness things. Some of the treatments that we have to go through, some of the stuff that myself or players and people that have these issues have to go through. It took a lot of research for me to figure it out. It takes a lot of resources to really help these people. And when I was asked about doing the sports betting, it really was a vehicle of something for me that was a way to raise money for charity. It was an awesome way to, I thought, to raise money and be able to give back to people and to help and to raise awareness for it, but also genuinely flat out just to have dollars raised for people to be able to help out Top Dog, some of our ex-teammates, some of the people in the community, bluntly some of the people that I've been really fixated on with addiction issues that I've been able to proudly be able to help out. I figured this was a great way to raise money for foundations and for charities and stuff. So, to do a promotional bet like that to try to raise money was just in an effort to give back money to people in the foundations. And I'm not an employee of the Browns, so as an independent contractor, I'm sorry I had to put them in this position. I didn't want to put them in this position, but because I'm not an employee, I didn't think that was going to be an issue. And because it was for charity, again, now I see the position for the Browns and the league that they're in, but in no way do you want to put them on the spot. In no way was this done in the interest of benefiting us. This was just a way I thought to raise money and awareness for some people that massively needed help from that perspective.
And 100%, I could say this too, because I talked to you about it, and 100% of that was going to go to help people and ex-players and people that really need it. But I think the most important thing there is I like what you said, because you love the Cleveland Browns. You love the city. Obviously, you're from here. And you didn't mean it. I mean, if it was something, if you'd have known that this was going to, like you said, put them in this position, or the NFL in that position, you never would have did it. No. And you know what?
I wish I was. I've been trying to be employee for the team for this century.
Yeah.
So,
and the most important thing, you said you're sorry. I mean, you're sorry, and that's.
Well, you don't want to put anybody in the spot, and you don't want to take away from the team, the league. You don't want to take away from the foundation and the charity side of it. I mean, the ability to really help people out and make a difference. I mean, this was such a massively emotional week. We did this show about this time last Monday. You know what transpired last Monday night with Hamlin and stuff. I mean, I'm a little emotional and massively fixated on this. And even though it wasn't optimally with the Browns losing and this happening with myself and this past weekend, it isn't something I chose, but it's almost like it is a calling for us players to really, ex-players, to help each other out and to take care of each other. It's an obsessive mission of mine right now that I'm passionate about and fixated on, and again, don't want to be bringing and doing things inappropriately, but in the pursuit of trying to raise money for this and trying to further this cause and further this awareness, yeah, there were some mistakes made with this, and I hope not too many people are hurt from it. I want to hope that we can make this a positive in terms of helping more people out with this. And I really want to thank the fans out there. I mean, our fans and our community of fans out there and the support and respect and love that they've showed me. I can't thank you enough. Heck, I'm trending towards 60 years old. I haven't thrown a pass since the early 90s, and to see this love and respect that you have for me, it makes me so proud to be from here and proud to be a Browns fan. And you don't need to take it out on the team. Look at this; we're all growing right now and learning and trying to do the best we can.
Well said, and I think I don't think we need to say anything else on that. I think you pretty much said it all. But before I jump on this D. Hamlin thing, I want to tell you, I'm not on the back nine. You know, you want to be on the back nine all you want to. I'm not. I know I'm not going to be on the back nine.
Top Dog's playing 36 today.
I'm gonna play 36. And Gab, I don't care what you say. I'm not on the back nine. Okay.
You don't look it, sir. Well, neither of you do.
Well, I know we do. I just had to give. Bernie. But man, I tell you what. You talk about this. What good news we got from this kid, man, in Buffalo. I mean, who would have thought? You know, watching that Buffalo game, the first kickoff, man, the guy comes back.
Oh, spiritual.
Yeah,
spiritual.
yeah.
Return. You know, I'm going Friday. I have a business meeting actually down in Cincinnati on some of this rehabilitation, health, wellness, addiction recovery type meetings down there. I'm absolutely going to try to go by the hospital and see if I could get in to see Demir on Friday.
And listen to this. Yesterday, it was 3 years and 3 days, 3-3. I mean, it's just crazy since they ran a kickoff back for a touchdown.
Yeah, and you know, I'm so emotionally tied to some of the things I had said earlier. I tried to say that in a calm, mature way, but really the emotion and the tears of almost holding back and stuff, and to see Josh Allen's press conference. Hats off to the Buffalo Bills. Hats off to Josh Allen. I mean, the genuine emotion when he was told about the 3 years and 3 months it was, and the defensive back for the Colts yesterday picking off the pass, and he was from Central Catholic from McKeesport, Pennsylvania, the same as Demir Hamlin was.
All I could say is God is good all the time.
And you know, for the younger players out there, we've heard we're talking about us ex-players, and when we were younger, you know, us younger players, we prided ourselves on helping out ex-players, helping out each other and stuff. The fraternity of players and the fraternity of the football, how we've kind of aggregated around, unfortunately, this Demir situation and how tragic it could have been, and to see the positiveness of that in terms of the short run, him getting this great responses. Top dog, to what I guess I'm kind of alluding to, we know the ramifications of the long-term effects, and not just Amir, but all of the guys, some of the things that I've suffered through, that I see people suffering through. It's absolutely more imperative that the younger players learn some of this stuff too, so that they could head off some of these issues.
Well, I have a question for you. Let's jump into Gab. You want to jump into this game a little bit yesterday?
Can we keep bringing on tough situations?
I was gonna let you guys go where you wanted to. This has been a crazy emotional week in the NFL, and you guys sort of brushed on that. And so, if you want to get straight to hurting ourselves, I've got it all set up.
We're masochists today.
I got a big question for Bernie, because after watching the game yesterday, DeShaun Watson. What did you think of his play yesterday? Did he progress? Did he go backwards? I mean, you tell me. What do you think about him yesterday?
So I really think that some of the stuff in these games, first, when you are playing a team that has to win to go to the playoffs, and you are not the team that has playoff aspirations or abilities, you could try to trick your brain into saying you're gonna go all out, but you really don't and stuff. And it's yet the Steelers were playing at an emotional challenging level that we did not meet their intensity yesterday with that, and that in itself was an issue right there. And then because there's been this talk and the weather's been so bad at our home games the last few weeks, that should we see what DeShaun can do? Should we throw the ball more to get him more acclimated in anticipation of next year? Trying to give people the benefit of the doubt for yesterday, I could see some of that possibly happening, because Nick Chubb, I think, carried the ball 6 times in the first half. He was averaging 7 yards a carry. Yeah. So if this was really a playoff game, if this was a real game that we had to win, the theme of the year, run Nick Chubb, would have been something that we should be hammering here today. But because I'm not sure what, maybe coaching-wise and team-wise, were they fixated on getting DeShaun practice, which I'm not complaining about, because at the end of the day, getting DeShaun in the right timing back now. I'm not sure it overly correlates into next year like we talked about on last week's podcast, but you do get a sense of maybe what he does good and doesn't do good. And then and maybe I feel like the coaching staff apologist today, but were we just trying to save Nick Chubb? He ran for over 1,500 yards. He kind of got that X marker done, even though he doesn't count it. In terms of individual goals, that's a cool goal. When you're an old man like me, Nick, you'll enjoy that.
You think about it.
But we're organizationally, were we trying to save his health because Nick Chubb is a keeper, and for him to have run the ball 26 times yesterday and gotten his ass kicked by the Steelers, and Cam Hayward, that's not conducive to that young man's long-term health. So, was there some of those, again, maybe I'm trying to create some excuses for him, but that does go through my head, and I dislike the Steelers too, and when I played, it almost always had playoff ramifications, but there was a game or two against them towards the end of the season that did not have playoff ramifications. My head was completely different than regular Steeler games, and you were working, and I was thinking about things in the future as it pertained to getting our football team better. So running Nick Chubb yesterday 26 times, yes, we probably could have gotten a W out of that, but I don't think it organizationally would have got our team better for the 2023 season by banging up that young man.
Well, you know what? When I watched this game, before this game, there was a couple of things I was worried about. And you, number one, you hit it right on the head. One of my keys to the game yesterday was match their intensity. We had to play every single play. I go back and I watched the Ravens play the Pittsburgh Steelers. In that particular game, the Steelers played with such intensity every single play. They never took a play off. I mean, they were the running backs. Najee Harris.
John the whole game.
John, he was every single play, and I knew that we had to do that during this game. And I know it wasn't going to be easy because you mentioned around here, you got Hayward, you got T.J. Watts, you got Highsmith, you got just those guys in particular on that front. I knew they were coming, and they were coming to play. They were playing for something. Obviously, they still had a shot. They needed a little help, but they were still playing for a shot, possibly get in the playoffs. And also, they wanted to keep the winning streak for their head coach alive and well.
I don't want to be the only guy that caused them to have the losing record, which actually this is a joke, but actually true. It actually shows that it was a promotional bet for charity because you knew that they didn't want to go. You wouldn't pick the Browns in your right mind if it was a financial model. That was an emotional model with loving our team.
Go ahead, Gab. I thought you was getting ready to say something.
No, I was just gonna say. So we brushed on it a little bit, but we're also like tracking DeShaun and what he's been up to. He was sacked 7 times. Was that an offensive line thing? I know we were missing Conklin, and then we've only had a small sample size of watching him. So I was just trying to see if you'd go a little deeper into what you've gathered from him, and if those 7 sacks, by the way, were
and
doing
Gab,
something.
Going back to that 7 sacks for Watson, it seems like that's his style of play. Like you look back when he was on the Texans, he kind of holds the ball, waits for something to happen, and then makes a big play. Is there an issue with the offensive line, do you think, Bernie, or do you think that this is just his style of play and they have to learn to adapt to it?
So I could talk about this one at length. This could be the whole hour show, so check me if I get too into this. But this is a high point of contention. If I wasn't wanting to genuinely be a healer in the fourth quarter of my life and get to this health and wellness, if I just was a football person and I stuck to just football, it's absolutely one of the things that's remiss in the coaching of young quarterbacks right now, especially athletic young quarterbacks. And I love Doug Peterson. I love Trevor Lawrence, but we saw this in the Jaguars game the other night. Trevor Lawrence with amazing athleticism, the beautiful right flipper, the golden arm to throw the ball. But young athletic quarterbacks and typically don't throw the ball till they see the guy open. They see the guy open. And that comes from when you're young. See the guy's open.
Yeah.
Only throw it to him if he's open.
Yeah.
Well, I never saw a guy open, brother.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I'm throwing you open.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm throwing
Yeah.
where you need to be. Okay. This is the pros. They got top dogs trying to cover you in press coverage. You're never this far open. Okay. So you gotta create those type of those throws and those type of
and if you wait until he's open, sure enough, you're gonna get sacked. Yeah.
So one of the things that I have for all young quarterbacks out there is in the off season, it's massively important to practice throwing the ball incredibly early, on time, on rhythm, so that you get accustomed to doing that. It's unrealistic to think you're going to not play for 700 days. Okay, yes, that is a little bit big play, Dave. His MO in Houston, but that is a MO of a lot of young athletic quarterbacks who have been coached not to make mistakes. Make sure you see the guys open. In the pros, and in particular in this system where yesterday and with the running play action game where you have 6, 7, 8 guys blocking, that means you only sometimes send 2 and 3 guys out into pass plays. Well, that sometimes takes significantly longer to develop, to end up holding the ball more, and you end up taking more sacks like that. That is absolutely something that I would consider working on in the offseason. We talked in last week's show where we got a lot of the Steelers showed a 6-2 defense against the Ravens. They played a lot of eighth man up in the box yesterday.
Yeah.
There's certain timing throws that I'd be working on with DeShaun, and this is showing my age, the old Ernie Zampese, Eric Coryell, Norv Turner, that Troy Aikman threw to the great Michael Irvin, And the year I got the Super Bowl ring and Troy was hurt, but you throw the skinny post, the 18 to 22-yard post off of a 5-step. There's routes that I believe DeShaun would be exceptional at, but you have to accelerate the tempo in your head and get that sense of timing. And with him and Amari Cooper having their second year together and him being able, as DeShaun talked about it in his post-season press conference today, talking about he's going to be around. He's going to be in Cleveland in the offseason. He wants to work out. He doesn't have all the peripheral things going on like last year. He wants to. He's embracing working out here. He's embracing being with his guys. I love hearing that from a Browns perspective, organization perspective, an offensive perspective. Having your QB wanting to stay here and work with guys, I think that will get better. And I would absolutely work on timing.
Yeah, because it's going to take some time, and I was a little worried yesterday when obviously Hudson was in there, and I said, oh my God, T.J. Watt is just going to have a field day, and not only him, I mean that whole defensive line, they just laid their ears back and they just let it go yesterday. But speaking of DeShaun, I watched him, and obviously he threw some balls. I know he wished that he could.
Yeah, both QBs are sailing the square.
Terrible. It was
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Because even Pickens.
Pickens threw us a few too.
And I watched him a couple of times talking about Pickens now, and I know we're talking about DeShaun Gab, but you got to bear with me here. But he, a couple of times, Bernie, if he would have just been patient, and I know that's easy said than done when you're in that pocket and you got those defensive linemen and linebackers bearing down on you. But if he would have been patient, and a couple of times he just had tunnel vision, he just locked in on that one receiver, and he had other guys coming wide open down the middle of the field. But I was a little disappointed in DeShaun's effort, but I understand. I know that in the offseason they're going to get this thing worked out. Stefanski. Let's talk about him a little bit. Obviously, they fired Joe Woods, the defensive coordinator. He's gone. We have to get a new defensive coordinator. We'll talk about that a little bit. But Stefanski, I don't know. I'm a little bit torn about that, him coming back and still, we have Van Pelt, who we have the title of the offensive coordinator, but we all know Stefanski's running the show over there. I don't even think Van Pelt even called any plays at all during the course of a ball game. I think pretty much it's Stefanski's show. I don't know. Shall we bring him back as offensive coordinator, or shall we try to find someone else to do the show?
So I feel like I'm probably the marketing representative for some of the coaching staff right now.
Okay.
I'm still very comfortable with Coach Kevin.
Okay.
Stuff. Alex Van Pelt, I really like Chad O'Shea, the receiver coach. Bill Callahan, the O-line coach.
Oh, yes.
So I really think trying to get these guys all together and finding out what DeShaun does best and implementing some of that into the system this year will be something that is imperatively important. I think organizationally, almost like what we were talking about with Mike Tomlin and the mental, physical toughness that the Steelers have, that you could see the way they're pulling out games in the second half and the fourth quarter. I think organizationally, team-wise, we could use more of that, more of that emotional toughness.
Instead of just there.
We're sitting here today, trying to sit here calmly, professionally, maturely. That is how you should act in regular society. That is how you want most of your people to act. Not your football team, though. You need 53 crazy guys at times to be able to. But
Bernie, you got Mike Tomlin. He's going over there. He's giving his guys high fives. He's he's talking to them. He's just there for them. I mean, and I'm not saying we should get a new head coach. I think it's too early for that. I want to see Stefanski back. I want to see him what he can do with this team and with this offense. But I'm telling you, man, I mean, Mike Tomlin, those guys, they'll run through a wall for him.
Hanford, would you rather have a coach like Campbell in Detroit as you as a player.
I like him.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like him.
Because it's so different.
I
Yeah.
like him.
Us
Oh
old players, we
my
like the old
goodness.
players. I mean, that's.
I like
But
him.
that staff's an anomaly. They're
Yeah.
all ex-players.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's the dreamland, okay? They're not hiring all ex-players like in Detroit. But that was awesome. Dan Campbell and that staff, what that staff does.
Maybe it's a broader question to ask, but what are some of the key characteristics that a head coach needs to have to get his guys all charged up? And from your playing experience, what works?
Well, you just gotta relate to the players. You have to the players have to know that you have their back. They have to know that you're not gonna bullshit them. I mean, obviously, because I expect a head coach. I don't give a damn who you are. You got to treat every player the same. You got to treat every single player the same. You might have your favorites. I mean, hell,
this is great. So Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay. Jimmy Johnson. Bill Belichick he does this, okay? But when you're a young coach, it's a little harder.
Yeah.
Okay, but Jimmy Johnson pulled it off. And, like, I've been in meetings at the U where I got a little bit reprimanded.
Yeah.
Then I've been at the Cowboys where we got a Super Bowl. We had one before. And Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman were higher on the food chain than me, okay?
Yeah.
And Jimmy Johnson ripped their backside
Yeah.
a couple times in front of all of us.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
And Jimmy, and he was cool, and he was subtle. He'd come up, and I hear him in stretch, and come up, and he'd say, hey, I had to do that so everybody could see that. Because if you mess with the top dog,
yeah.
all of us regular people
That's right.
know that it's your fair game and stuff. So that's absolutely a beautiful strategy. And one thing that I'm going to try to concisely say this, but this play calling thing, and should coach do it, Coach Stefanski do it or not? Should you outsource it or not? Do we let Alex Van Pelt? Do we bring somebody in? Do we let the QB do it? I've been really thinking an inordinate amount about that, like our fans have been doing. And one of the things I think would be something worth looking at. And bluntly, I did this for a majority of my career, and I have the reputation of calling all my plays, And ultimately, yeah, I did in the good offenses. I had ultimate accountability and responsibility for what the hell the play was.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean I have to call the play first all the time.
Right.
And one of the things that was massively successful for me was the play call at college from Mark Trestman, who was my offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, with Gary Stevens, the great Gary Stevens, in college. And then Gary Stevens was with Dan Marino and me with the Dolphins. Mark Trestman was here with us when we went to the AFC Championship game in 1989.
Mark who?
Trestman. Okay? And it was,
See, you guys don't understand. We look at each other, we know what each other's thinking. And we're laid out, huh?
it was a suggestion, okay? He would say what he thinks is good, okay? I had the ultimate thing to change it. Now, we didn't have microphones as good as we have it today and communication things like with the coaches. So I could see a scenario where I actually like where Don Shula did this during his career. They would call a play, okay? He hears it. He has the right to change it. Just change it, bro.
Yes.
And that's why now
I
am managing, and it allowed me to be comprehensive, to think through, look around, see what's up, see what the situation is, get a flow for the game, get a suggestion. Okay, now I work so much with you, God almighty, then 85% of what we call is about the same anyways.
Yeah.
It's that unique handful of plays a game, that half dozen calls that maybe you have a feeling for at the time of doing it. But man, when you got a suggestion with somebody you work hand in hand with day in and day out, which these guys will, that you develop such a friendship and such a respect for each other and such a common thought process that, boy, when you're really hitting on all cylinders, and this is what I kind of would like to suggest, is to see that as a suggestion, and you ultimately have ultimate accountability because you could always change it, and we don't need to know.
Right.
You don't even need to know who's doing that.
And that's what I was going to say, because even Van Pelt, I don't know. Maybe maybe he's involved, maybe he's not involved. I don't know, but I like to see, just like you said, I like to see if he is the offensive coordinator, give him a little bit more power, because the head coach, if he want to change it, just like you said, he can change it. He's going to change it.
I mean, God, it's like us in the 1987 AFC Championship game at Denver. We had the first half of the game. We were woeful in our play calling, and I did not have the stones to change it, okay, like I did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at halftime, I lost my brain,
Mm-hmm.
okay, yelling about the play calling and that stuff. But I said, I was respectful in the second half. I let them pretend like they're calling plays. They suggest it, okay? And if you act like you called it, it's, I don't have to tell the world that I changed your play.
Yeah.
As long as it ended up working.
Everybody's happy.
Everyone's happy. Because at the end of the day, football is a result-oriented business, and you want the results. And I don't care how you get it. It's just getting that positive result.
Well, I tell you what, Gab, you want to talk about this season, Gab? I know what you want to know.
What's that? I was going to say, okay, a disappointing season overall for us, but there were some bright spots.
Yeah.
Who or what impressed you this season? Maybe some people who showed up for you.
So as you give me the bright spots, my brain, I'm on 7-second delay, I guess, today. My brain's still on the coaching, play calling and stuff, and the Joe Woods situation. Whether people think it should have happened or not, it's football and life. It happened, so now we got to move forward with it. And there's been some cool names being thrown out there with that. But boy, I really like the Brian Flores one. I don't want to go against Brian Flores and Mike Tomlin for the next foreseeable future in Pittsburgh. So you weaken that team, you snag him away. I've been studying him from my Dolphin stuff. He's a very, very good defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
What do you think? You're the defensive.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, looking at that defense, some things that really impressed me was those defensive backs. Emerson, I thought he played. I thought he came in. Oh man!
In your face.
Oh, he comes there and he competes every single play. I don't know. I don't know where that's coming from. Why are they teaching them that? Why is it? Who's teaching them? You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that, and they're gonna call it all the time. You just go in there. You don't hook them. You just go in there and make the play.
Didn't even hook them hard either.
But it's there. But also Newsome, I thought he had a good year. Ward came on the second part of the year. He started to play well. He's just I don't know. He just get hurt a lot. That's the only thing about him. We just got to keep him healthy. Obviously, Miles.
He sticks it right in. How he got hit. He got hurt in week 18, sticking his head and shoulder. That was really sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I love you, but sometimes the cornerback he embraced it.
And Miles is Miles, and I thought
16 sack again.
I thought Grant Deppett. I tell you what, I thought he just most improved guy on defense. I thought he played well. He'd start to tackle well, and he started to make plays. I thought he was excellent.
We talked last week. Mentally, it looked like early in the year he was in the middle of some of those mental issues, and as he mentally appeared to understand what he was doing, he really looked like a friggin' missile out there, hitting holes, stopping runs, making plays, and then having INTs causing interceptions.
What we got to do with this defense, though, obviously we got to figure out a way, regardless of who the defensive coordinator is, you got to figure out a way to stop the run. I mean, teams have been able to run the football on us. And we're fine as far as points in the first and second quarter, but when it get later in the game, the third and fourth quarter, that's when we start to give up pretty much a lot of points. So that way we got to figure that out. And
is that personnel? Is that effort? Is it a combination? Is it coaching?
How
do we do that?
I think it's all.
That's the consistent for the year was we let the run through the middle.
I think it's all of the above, all of the above that you that you just mentioned. Now let's switch over to the other side. I think one of my most improved guys on the offense, DPJ. I thought he had an exceptional year. I was it started the day yesterday. He needed like 203 yards, I think, to get over 1,000 yards. I thought he played well. I thought he progressed a lot. I think one thing we have to do, because when you got him, you got Njoku, and then you got Cooper. Bernie, we got to give DeShaun some more weapons over there.
Oh, as a QB, yeah. Hell yes, I'm on that train.
Yeah,
that's really, I want to. We have the whole off season to decipher what's going to happen next season from that standpoint. Typically, when you're out of the playoffs, losing games to get the highest draft pick possible, to get guys to add to the depth, add to your weapons is something that's fixated in your head. Not having the number one pick or not having a first round pick this year kind of dissipates that. But when you really look at it, and I want to be positive, but really there's a lot of holes right now with minimal picks. Now. So yeah, I love how Donovan Peoples-Jones played this year and how he blocked in a running game as a receiver. Absolutely added to our ability to run the ball so physically dominant through the course of the whole year. But we need another speed receiver. Schwartz didn't work out. We need probably, with all the tight ends, another younger tight end in there. Probably need some more depth at offensive line. We massively need size at defensive tackle.
Yes.
We massively need size and depth at linebacker. You probably need another safety or so. So, God, how do you feel all those voids and holes right now and those depth issues with minimal draft picks and a salary cap ramifications? We're not bad yet from the salary cap, but I think I think we're going to be about $3 million over the cap to start when the salary cap numbers come in. So there's going to be some juggling that needs to be done. And
is Hunt gone? Kareem?
I don't see. As much as I really love Kareem and stuff,
I think he's gone.
And for somebody like Kareem too, that he's at a point in his career almost like Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah,
of course you want him back, okay? But those young men, although they're a little older by NFL standards, they're young men to us, and they deserve an opportunity.
You know what I like about them?
Try playing more, and they'll probably have opportunities to play more football.
You know what I liked about him? Never griped, gave you 100%. Everything that he had, every time he touched the field, I mean, he went out and he played extremely hard, and he never pulled a Clowney. I mean, I was shocked at some of the things, because if I have a problem with you, I'm not going to run to Mary Kay Cabot or someone in the press.
Right to you.
Yeah, I'm going right to you.
It's our first call, man. You're my first call.
I mean, I that shocked me. That really shocked me.
And I'm not trying to be.
And he's not a young player.
Right. And Miles, I thought handled it really nicely. And I actually think Miles has been, even to the more surprising of Davian saying that was, Miles has been massively complimentary.
Yeah.
Through the whole year as a leader with that. And God, I don't even know if I should say this, but I'd been tipped off, a month or so ago about situations like this. And, I'd heard some things, we all know players. Okay?
Yeah.
And when the team is going south and the season's going south, even when the season's going good, we know some players that have crept out and not been into the team as much. And, there was stuff and rumors about, guys, a guy like Davian, counting down days, 33, 32, 31, and that's
check out.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I didn't want to believe it a month ago when I heard it, but when you hear what happened on the end of last week, you can see that type of stuff's happening, and you've got This is serious. We're talking about health, wellness. I want to be a healer and stuff. I hate this analogy, but if you have cancer, you got to take it out.
Yeah.
And if you have people in the locker room that aren't into the locker room, ain't about the team, you're not about anything about the team, and we start putting ourselves first. And human nature does want to do that. Yeah. But if you have that, you have to eradicate that. You will never win with that type of attitude permeating within your team and your locker room, your organization.
And I thought Stefanski handled it really, really well. I mean, he did what he had to do because, like you said, he couldn't have him around because it was a distraction. It definitely was a distraction, so we had to get him out of there. Oh, boy, I can't believe that guy.
Some of that, and actually, it has me fixated on, people ask me, how come you're not coaching? How come you're not in that locker room and stuff? And, the obsessive selfishness and team that you have to actually be good and win. We were talking to the course of the show at the beginning about me wanting to be a healer and the therapeutic of giving back and helping people. Some of the mindset that you have to win a football game isn't that of a healer.
Yeah.
It isn't that of a nice person. It's that of a crazy, tough guy that wants to win and be physical at all costs. And this is a terrible analogy with Demir Hamlin, and God bless what's happened, because it really put a sense of reality there, and why I'm blessed in the late third quarter, fourth quarter of my life to be a healer, because the football person that we know, the way that I know to be a successful football player, is that kill or be killed out on the field. And that's a terrible analogy to even say today, but that was the mindset.
Yeah.
And that was actually the phrases that we used to use, and to see that almost happen like that, it makes you really think, at least makes me reconsider, telling younger people to do that, yelling at people to run into that wall like that, knowing the long-term damage that it's going to cause them.
I have a question for you guys. Did you guys see the Green Bay game yesterday? Did you see where the player, the player was hurt, and then the trainers and everybody rushed on the field? And
I would like to chat about this.
Did you see that?
And he pushed the chair.
Did you see
I just have a genuine question, you guys. How emotionally stunted do you have to be to think that a trainer muscling his way to help an injured athlete deserves retaliation during a week when trainers literally saved a man's life? Nonetheless, can we do better? Come on, what do you think?
So Gab, you're awesome how you phrase that, and it's so true how you said it, and you're so right. And even myself, who've done things in the rectangle that I'm not proud of, said things in the huddle that I'm not proud of, and when it happens, I'm like, where the hell did that come from? The ability to think calmly and think rationally, like I'm attempting to do right now, is one thing. Boy, when there's some of us in the heat of battle in the rectangle, and we're just dysfunctional. I mean, we just don't think normally. We just don't think straight. I sound like I'm a player apologist today for him. You can't do that. You really can't do that. But if he had to look at himself today, he probably is disgusted with himself too, and saying, like, what the hell am I thinking? I didn't mean to do it. But in the heat of battle, like, I've done some dumb things on the field where people you didn't think should be on the field in pregame warm-ups. I made sure they weren't on the field. I mean, footballs were flying, at their cranium.
But his timing couldn't have been. I mean, oh my God. Yeah. And then the thing is also, too, was you saw him when he went in the tunnel, he realized, I think it finally hit him, the magnitude of what he did. And also
now, I didn't see that part.
He was going.
Was he bummed out?
Oh, he was crying. He was going through the tunnel. He was crying. But you know what? They should have kicked two of them out. Because
95.
Did you see?
I didn't like that either.
The defensive tackle came up and he
he chest checked him. And here's what bothered me about it. 95 had a minute to gather himself because he saw what unfolded.
Right.
And he said, you know what I'm going to do? Chest check this guy, because it didn't make any sense. I don't know. I would, from a player standpoint, this is enlightening to me. I can understand the heat of battle stuff, but Especially
it doesn't
since
condone
it
but
doesn't.
but
And then the other thing is, did you guys see? I forget what college team it was. It must have been. They were in the tunnel. This was maybe a week or two ago. Whose head coach just lost it on. He got in somebody's face. So someone
was it Mississippi State game?
Someone was holding back
Michigan
the head
game?
coach, and then the head coach got in his face and was like, "Don't ever touch me."
Oh no, I didn't
Did you see that? So I forget which teams it was. Dave could probably look it up, but so yeah, that was another one where the guy had the headset on. He was just waiting, making sure, hey, man, like stay here while we wait to get everybody out. And he just lost it and got in his face, and it's like
the get back coach got yelled at.
Yeah, and I don't know. From my standpoint, it's like, at what point do you draw the line between, hey, we got to rile these guys up and we're rah-rah and we want to win, but can we separate the fact that, like, is it impossible to separate? Am I missing something?
What you're saying is I personally have a hard time separating it, and that's kind of why, and again, it's not trying to make more of a story of what's happened, but why I really feel like wanting to be a healer as in this second half of my life here, because that mindset and that personality that almost has to all consume you to be successful on that field, or for me to survive on that field and to be productive, isn't rational. It's crazy. It does dumb things like that, and in youth, I was into that, and now as you age out, you don't want to do those type things, and I don't want to coach up. I don't want to coach up younger kids to be that type of person to be successful. Because if you don't have some of that kind of edge to you, you're not mentally tough in the fourth quarter. You're falling apart at the end of games, and we haven't found that balance from a Browns locker room perspective yet either. Where do you have that edge of almost craziness to be able to get other men on the other team to that we impose our will, so that you bluntly quit at the end of the game.
Well,
Hanford, what do you think?
Well, before we move on, I'm still over here laughing, and I was going to say, and I'm not getting into politics, but I would say it reminds me of being on the floor yesterday. I mean, a couple days, 3 days ago, where they were trying to vote McCarthy in, and you got everybody's fighting, and then you got a couple of the senators they had to hold him back because he wanted to fight one of them because he didn't vote the way he wanted him to vote. Like, what the hell is going on? What's going on in this world, man? People are crazy today.
We're all a little crazy.
Yeah, we're all right. That's the last thing I'm gonna do is get into that, man.
I just wondered if there was, there's got to be exceptions to the rule. People who can go out there and
hey, Gab, I just got this.
Dominant.
Not to cut you out, but Browns request permission to interview Patriots linebacker coach. Gerard
Mayo. What do you think about that?
Well, that's
Talking
fine.
about
Let's go into that.
Yeah,
what do you think of that?
Oh, you already knew that, and you didn't say anything.
Well, I had it in the notes, and then you brought this, and then I had to get in on it because I was like, "What was that about? Right. Is that normal? Like, is that just the thing?"
He's been rumored though also for some head coaching possibilities. And
last year.
Yeah, and because he's a Bill Belichick guy and stuff, he'll probably really analyze his options and stuff. And this isn't. This may not be as good an option for a young up and comer like him, because again, he's going to look at, just like Sean Payton's going to look at the issues in the Denver Broncos. Hey, there's no draft picks. Russell's a little older. How am I going to look good here and get players to look good? It's Mayo and the person coming to run this defense. Going to say the same thing. If I got to stop the run, I'm not big enough at D tackle, I'm not big enough at linebacker. They have no draft picks. What are they going to do to make me look good as a head coach? Because this could be a career stunter if the D coordinator comes in and fails because of personnel issues.
You know what I think is crazy?
Hanford, all pro defense. Yeah. If this is you, you taking this job?
Well, no. and you know what I think is crazy today? I mean, you look at some of these owners, and I mean, they sign these guys to these 3-4 year contracts, and after the first year,
We whack them.
They whack them.
Yeah.
I mean, they whack them.
Well, they don't get good advice from their
Yeah.
internal organization because they sometimes have. A lot of teams have unqualified
How are you
people giving advice.
How are you
to
gonna
the
whack a
owners.
guy after 1 year? You're gonna bring him in to coach your team, and you're gonna whack him after 1 year? You're exactly
And
right.
that's the same people who gave me that crap recommendation.
Still there,
Yeah,
still there, still there. Who told me to hire him? You know, they could survive it, but you got a head coach, and they're gonna whack. Get out of here, you people have lost your mind. Oh my God.
That's why, we here in Cleveland think it's a really positive job to have. It may not be for some of the things we've talked about, and that's where like a guy like Brian Flores, who is, in some circles, some teams won't hire him because it's the lawsuit.
But he's a good coach.
Oh, he's a real good coach.
So good coach.
Again, ultimately, you hire the devil if the devil wins the Super Bowl for you.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not that. Okay, I didn't mean that type of an analogy, but he is gifted. Okay, and what he does in his blitz schemes, what he does with his front seven, and then plays with his defensive backs back is something I think would fit a personnel transition.
Hey, Cam, you gotta watch Bertie with his analogies. You gotta keep it straight.
Go hire him. Go hire him. And for final thoughts on this season, because we are done, man.
Yeah, man. You know what? I'm disappointed. I'm also encouraged. I expected us, even though I knew we wasn't going to get our quarterback to later in the season. I still expected us, with the talent that we have on this team, to win a lot more games. I expected us to at least be in the playoffs, and that just didn't happen. Anytime we all play this game for one reason. That's to win a Super Bowl, win a championship. And you have to invite it to the party. I always say, give me an invitation to the party, because if you have an invitation to the party, anything could happen. I mean, at least you're in it, and you could probably make a run. But that didn't happen, so it's back to the drawing board again for this football team. But I'm still disappointed because we didn't accomplish any of the goals I think that we were supposed to accomplish.
Unfortunately, I have to concur with you. I want to be positive, and I'm not looking to take shots and stuff, but you really have to. It has to be a win or lose mentality, and winning is going to the playoffs. So we're home now. We're going to watch the most important part of the NFL season. You can't at all take any consolation in failing like that. So that aspect of the season, you have to be disappointed with that. And I want to be positive moving forward, but there's a lot. It's an uphill climb right now with the depth issues, with the minimal draft picks, and we're going to have to really hit on these draft picks. We're going to have to be really smart in how we sign free agents, and almost like hopefully we could create some type of inertia where DeShaun Watson and some of the guys who are going to be here almost could find a little bit of recruiting, because you could almost recruit now and to get a buddy. I don't know if they got a big 325-pound defensive tackle buddy, okay, but call him, okay, if you do. If you've got a cool receiver that you could make plays with, call him, okay, because you need him. And that type of stuff, give it a chance, because I have a feeling we're going to have to do the free agent path to supplement our draft picks and supplement our depth right now, and to make some of the transition towards getting bigger and tougher on defense to be able to stop the runs, because our division is not going away. Kenny Pickett, Najee Harris, they will be a running play action team, period. The Ravens are a running team, and Joe Burrow's Joe Burrow. Okay, so that's an issue. That's always going to be an issue. And by the way, dude, did you see Joe Burrow? They asked him after the game yesterday,
was he smoking? Was he smoking a cigar?
Yeah, he was so good celebrating the stogie and stuff. Okay, the championship stogie. But they asked him a question like, "Hey, so Joe, how long's your window open?
Yeah.
Window for the Super Bowl. As long as I'm here.
Yeah.
And he was serious. That wasn't funny. And he was genuine. I love that.
That's like a Bernie quote.
Yeah, I love that. I don't like that for a Browns fan, but I love that as a quarterback.
Well, you and I have to give our. I like to. Who do you think is going to the Super Bowl? Who's going to play in it?
Let's talk about some of those.
Yeah,
Let's look around the league because Hanford, you're right. We
Yeah.
didn't get invited to the party.
Yeah.
We didn't get invited to the pregame party. We got to look at all of these different games around the league. Let's look at some big play bets.
Stand by. Let me find that video. There we go.
All right, let's look at our one-star bet of the week. Is a rematch. Chargers -2 at Jaguars. Jaguars with a pretty cool win to get into this game.
Well, I tell you what, they are playing really good football right now, and they're at home. I'm going to go with the Jaguars. I like that young kid at quarterback. I'm going to go with them. I think they're playing pretty good right now.
Yeah, I love, I talked about last week with Doug Peterson being one of my ex-teammates and in my quarterback room there. I love that. I love Trevor Lawrence. And actually, both quarterbacks got the gold right arm for those guys. So this one, though, it's interesting to me because both teams, I think the Chargers are a little vulnerable in their secondary. How if Bosa comes back and is he able to get the pressure on him? But I like Jacksonville too at home.
Yeah, Jacksonville won 38-10. They whooped them week 3. Yeah. So, all right, let's look at our 3-star bet. Cowboys -2.5 at Tampa Bay.
Boy, I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm going to go with Tom Brady. I think. Did you guys see Dallas yesterday? Did they lay an egg or what yesterday? If they play anything like they played yesterday, there's no way they're going to win this ball game. But they rested. I think Tom Brady and I think they're going to finally put it together, even though they haven't really put it together all year. But I think they're going to finally put it together in the playoffs. By the way, first losing season for Tom Brady was this year, but I'm still going with the Bucs.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Tom Brady's first losing season in multiple decades
yeah.
of playing, and he still has he wins the division and still has a home playoff game. So how bad was he that he still won a division? So Dallas, I want to go for Dallas because of my Jerry Jones, my Super Bowl ring, my friendship still there.
Yeah.
Jason Light, the general manager for the Tampa Bay Bucs, was also in that lot with me at the Dolphins in the QB room as an intern then. But for Tom Brady on a Monday Night Football in the playoffs right now, and I really believe the Cowboys are having some self-confidence, some self-esteem issues after the way they've played the last couple of weeks. So I'm liking Tom Brady. I'm going to call it an upset, but I'm not sure taking Tom Brady's would be an upset.
Well, I'm going to say, and I'm going to say this real quick before you move to the next one. Dak yesterday, he threw to the cornerback. The cornerback didn't catch it, and Dak said, "Okay, I'm going to give you another shot. I'm going to throw it at you."
What scared me in the second one, though, this is really concerning to me, and I'd love if we could get the legal rights to use the video. He threw a catch. He threw a quick out into cover 2.
Yes.
Like, oh my God.
Yes.
Like, I didn't do that in high school.
What was
like? That's a real tragedy. Like, it was not even disguised cover 2. Corner in the flat. He will squat on anything. Safety over the top in a deep half. Like, I saw it on the shitty camera angle.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
To see that really was. And after the first one should have been picked off, and he was late on an out on that first one, and then people said, well, they knew it was coming. No, they didn't know it was coming. They called cover 2.
Yeah.
That they won't even. The receiver should have ran the adjustment. The receiver shouldn't have done that. But then us Q's got to know that. That was really concerning.
Yep, and now we are at our 5-star back to the AFC North. 2 teams we're jealous of as we sit here in the studio. Ravens +6.5 at Joey B and the Bengals.
Yeah, I just went on my Joe Burrow homily and stuff, okay? And yeah, I like what Joe Burrow's doing. That's a lot of points in a playoff game. You know, I'm a big Ozzie Newsome and Ravens fan. I love what they do. There's something going on with Lamar right now, and even coming back and not playing, you know, in the last month and a half, there's usually some rust issues. We saw that with Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. So not playing for a few weeks. There's some rust.
I am.
What is Hanford gonna do?
Well, this is where Bernie and I are gonna part ways. I think now if they get Lamar back, and I think they will get him back this week, I think the Baltimore Ravens will upset the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincy. Wow. So I say look out for those Baltimore Ravens. They are.
You know what? And again, I'm not putting any put much thought into I don't do my bets for finance. I go with my heart for that. But it is tough.
Yeah.
To go back-to-back weeks in human nature. The Bengals just beat the Ravens yesterday.
Yeah.
They're going to think, hey, it's going to happen again this week. The Ravens, it's tough to go back-to-back weeks going to the same place and stomping the team like that. So I actually think the Ravens can do something with it. But Joe Burrow's attuned to that, and I'm looking forward to watching this game. And it's actually telling too, in a negative way for our future and stuff, because our division for Lamar to get into the play, or for the Ravens to get into the playoffs without Lamar, Joe Burrow they're a top 5 team for multiple years to come, and unfortunately, the Steelers are the Steelers.
When Big Ben retired, that was supposed to be our time to shine. We got a lot of work to do. Let's go to the 2 minutes and wrap this sucker up.
All right, 2-minute warning, everybody. Final thoughts on the season or whatever you want to chat about.
Well, bummed out about the way the season materialized. It didn't end up in the playoffs, and bummed out about all the drama yesterday. You know, trying to do something to bring awareness and raise money for charity and for people here in our communities here in our NFL community of players. You know, doing things with your heart and sometimes making an issue here that created drama that really didn't need to be created and didn't want to be affecting so many people like it did. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I love football. I love what it's done for me and for us and stuff. But it's really now that I'm at a time in life where I'm really trying to raise money, raise awareness, and love the ability, the almost responsibility that I've been shown to help and heal people from a physical and mental standpoint. I'm absolutely excited about continuing to do that and continuing to figure out ways to raise money and raise awareness and make a difference by helping people out.
And I'm going to say this again. Everybody know you. Everybody love you. Everybody know that your heart is in the right place, and you would never do anything to hurt the Browns or the organization or anything like that. So, and I thought it was just great when you said if you did, obviously you'd be sorry about that, but you were just trying to, like you say, help people and help a lot of the players. And I think you've said everything that you need to say. And Big Dog, good show.
Good show, good year. Now that we got a little Brown stuff and season stuff, and unfortunately no playoff stuff. Looking at it from the positive side, it really is going to give us an opportunity to kind of dig into some of this health and wellness stuff that's made a difference in my life and being able to help other people out.
And we have to thank everybody. Big play.
I'm waiting for the bark.
Big play, Dave, Gab. And we have a guest in studio today. You matter. Go Browns.